Hello everyone, it's the 13th of May. I just thought I'd record a short video to encourage us, to kind of, just give you some sense of the reflections I'm having at the moment. We had a great couple of meetings last night via Zoom of our PCC, so the Bestingby PCC and then the Christchurch PCC, so our church councils. It was good to be able to do some thinking together, and you'll all know as you receive this that so much of what's happening around the country is from day to day, week to week at the moment, and not being able to think too far ahead. So that's very much the status for us as a church, as a network at the moment. We're doing what we can, making the decisions that we can along the way, and hopefully the wise decisions and prayerful decisions, grappling with some quite challenging things, as you know. But we are also getting a sense that we can begin to look up a little bit more, and not necessarily lay really kind of big plans or anything like that, but certainly be in a situation where we are able to do some process with each other and with God around what's God saying to us, how we're going to respond, what are the possible future things that we can be doing, what we take on and what we leave behind. So do pray for that process really, and keep praying. This morning I was reading Mark 10. The end of the chapter is the story of Bartimaeus, blind Bartimaeus. And you may remember that what happens is that Jesus is with his disciples. He's walking along the road, and there's a large crowd, and here's this guy Bartimaeus, just simply Bart, his son Timaeus, so he's son of Timaeus. That's all we know really about him. He's an authorized beggar. So in those days, instead of a certificate of authorization to be able to do this, they would give somebody a cloak, and that denoted it was a certain colour, certain style, and it showed that they were able to do this kind of work. And there he is, and he shouts out, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me!" And he makes such a fuss that people are telling him to shut up. But Jesus stops, and he calls out, or tells them to call out to Bartimaeus. I mean, probably he's hidden from Jesus's eyes somewhere on, in and amongst this crowd. He won't necessarily be able to identify him. So it says here, so they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you." That's one of my favourite bits in this. Sometimes we need to be reminded that Jesus calls to us, and certainly for me at the moment, there are times when I just need to be cheered up into the knowledge that Jesus is calling. And I want to encourage you with that today. That's one thing, really. Just be cheered up today with the fact that Jesus is calling. And for many of us, for all of us, actually, it may well be a calling into just being prayerful and attentive to Him as we wait in this this period of time, as we operate with these restrictions and these challenges for us. So what's the thing that we can do? We can just be alert to Jesus' presence and pray. So do that and cheer up into it, is my encouragement to you. Secondly, and here's the thing that really struck me, and I'd never thought about this, was the cloak. You see, it says, throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. And as I said before, the cloak is a sign of his authorization to be what he is. In other words, he was wearing that cloak because he was blind and because this was the only way in which he could live. And I just think I was really struck by that he throws his cloak off, and it's like he's throwing away the old way. He's throwing away his entrapment into blindness and his obligation to function like a blind man in that society by being a beggar. And he throws off those kind of things as he is brought to Jesus and receives his sight. And you know what? We just are led to understand that he was able to lead a new life after this. And I find this immensely encouraging, because I think at this time for us, we are having to throw aside cloaks. And for us as a church, I think there's some throwing aside. There's going to have to be some throwing aside and leaving behind, and we're going through that. But the great thing is that as we do that, so what happens is we do enter into a new life. Bartimaeus didn't go back to being a blind man begging. We don't know what he went to do. But the suggestion is that he lived a new life after this. And so one of the cheer up things for us at the moment is that we're beginning to be able to contemplate new life beyond this as we throw off cloaks, as we throw off things, and we stand up and we approach Jesus. So I just want to encourage you with this. You do feel free to reflect on it and pray about it and discard what isn't helpful and take hold of what is helpful. That's the purpose of these kind of things. I'm not speaking to you as anything but somebody who's a disciple of Jesus, who day by day comes to Jesus and seeks to learn from him, to grow in him, and to be sent by him. And that's what I want to encourage you to be like as well.